Howdy friends, I'm going to talk about a Google Form add-on called Choice Removal. And what you can do with this is set up some options in a Google Form and make it so that way those options disappear. You can just make it so that way there is one item and those get removed as people select them. I'll do a scenario here where it might be signing up for parent-teacher conferences. So let's start with a blank Google Form. So I'll click on my waffle here, find Google Forms, start up a brand new Google form. So in this case, some skills that we're going to be learning is adding on this Google form called choice removal. And then not only that, but we'll talk about different question types. We'll also talk about adding something called sections to help you organize, and then also how you sift through that information in a spreadsheet. So in this case, let's say I'm setting up parent-teacher conferences. I'm going to have a question right off the bat, and it's going to pertain to the day. And then I'm going to have some different sections pertaining to specific times. And you'll see what I mean by all of this when I start building it if you're not super familiar with Google Forms. But before we do all of that, let's start with the title. Okay, and you can add extra information here. And then here where it is in a question, they always give you an untitled question. It's always multiple choice to start out with. All right, and in this case, they actually changed it to a drop down, but you can do either one. You can do a multiple choice or a drop down. Either one is appropriate. In this case, since it's pretty short, I'm just going to leave it a multiple choice. Sometimes Google will change these question types, so be aware of that. Be watching that. They'll sometimes change things on you. I'm going to make this required, and then the next thing I'm going to do is add a section for each of these dates. So that way, when a person selects this, it will go to that section and it will remove those items as they select the specific times. So this is a section button. I will title this, and I'm going to add another question. This is the question button. And in this, I'm going to put some times. I'm going to leave this required. I have mine set that they automatically are required every single time I create a question. That's in the preferences section here in the three dots. So if you ever want to set that, you can. I will add another question. This is where I need to start gathering some data about the participant. And you'll see that Google automatically changed it to a short answer. That's nice. Okay, so let's get a rundown here. I have my time question. I have student first name, student last name. All of these are required. Parent first name, parent last name, parent email. You'll notice that I automatically put in response validation. By the way, if you want to do response validation, you can turn that on in the three dots on every question. Specifically, short answer is on that one. There are different options and additional choices that you can do in the various question types. And so it depends really on what question is being asked. Parent phone number goes there. And here, I am not going to make this one required because that's just additional pieces of information. Everything else has a little star by it, asterisk by it, letting me know that those are required. Now, you might say, Lance, that takes forever. I don't want to do that for another date. You can actually save yourself a lot of time with these sections. So by building a section like this, then what I'm able to do is this. Click on the three dots at the top of the section. So I have section 2 of 2, and I can duplicate the section. It'll make an exact copy of everything that I just did to save me tons of time. And I will just merely change the date here, like so. And then I'll do the same thing for the second. But you want to make sure you get it all set up the way you want first, and then duplicate the section. This step is super important. Now, what you need to make sure you do is if you're going to use this, you need to make it so that way when they select one of these items, it goes to that specific section. So this is the first part in that. I'm going to select this question, choose the meatballs here, and choose to go to section based on answer, choose my sections that apply. And then there's another important step in all this, and this one's easy to miss. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of each section and make sure that it says submit form at the bottom of each one, because otherwise it's going to go to the very next section and cause me fits. And the last one shouldn't have anything on it because that's submit form no matter what, because that's the last section. Those are two really important steps in this process, so don't miss it. Very important to make sure you have it go to section based on the responses and that you have it go to submit form after each one. I have this all set up and ready to go, except for I have a few more pieces of information regarding putting in the actual add-on. So I'm going to go to add-ons. This is if I don't have it installed, by the way. And if I need to find it, I click on those three dots and choose the add-ons option. And I'm going to search for the word choice, hit enter, and it'll show me some different options. And choice removal is the one I'm using today. When I select it, it's going to say domain install or individual install, and I'll select individual install, and it will be an add-on in my Google Forms. If it tells you that you don't have permission and you're working on a school account, then what will happen is you'll need to contact your technology department and have them whitelist this product so that way you can actually utilize it. I will X out. You may have to refresh your form just to make sure it's working. And I'm going to click on the puzzle piece and choose choice removal. And you can see I'm having an error there. I didn't refresh. I didn't take my own advice. So let's refresh and try it again. Takes a moment for the puzzle piece to show up because that's where my add-ons are stored. Choice removal. There it is. Now I have the configuration button and I need that. So I will select that. It's going to show me each section. And so here's my select my day, select my time, select my time, select my time. So it has select my time for all three of those sections. This just applies to those drop downs as well as multiple choice. Okay, so I will turn on remove choices, and go to the last one, remove choices, and close out. That's all there is for that. Let's talk about dispersal to the parents. So I can do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to first click on this gear and do some checking here. So most likely what I would do to eliminate a lot of confusion is I would likely have this pushed out to my Google Classroom. I would have this be part of the homework. The parent's supposed to fill it out and just have the parent fill it out directly on the student device. That's why I have that extra space for parents to put in their own email and their name and student name and piece all that information together. You don't really need to do response receipts. So the reason why this is handy is because if you're going to collect email addresses automatically, it works best if they have a Google account. It just eliminates all those extra steps. So this just helps make sure that they can fill it out. You can restrict it so that way only your domain can fill it out. Again, that's all preference. So if you're going to send it directly to parents, you don't want to do it this way where it's sent out to students. You might want to uncheck that. In fact, you do want to uncheck that. The next thing I'm going to do is limit the response. Limiting responses will make it that this must be turned on and activated. All right. So these are just matter of choice, how you want to push it out, how you want to organize your day. So let's see what it looks like from a student side. I'm going to hit send, grab my link here. This is what I would post. And this is what it would look like for a student. And what I will do is I'll select October 2nd, select a time. Let's do 5:50 p.m. Put in my information. And submit. So now you can see I have a response as a teacher, one response right there. And if I go down to October 2nd, look for the 5 o'clock spot, you'll see that it is deleted. Now, if someone cancels and you need to bring it back, what you can do is just add that option back in and organize it like so. So that way someone else can select that time slot. Not a problem to fix that. I'll hit the X and get rid of it because it was eliminated. Let's go to responses and you'll see all your responses here. That way you can see how it's worked out. I really like using a spreadsheet because with a spreadsheet, you get the whole plan of what has happened. I'm not going to have a whole lot of data in here because I only have one response so far. But to see how this works, you'll see that each section has a number of columns here. And if I scroll down over here, you'll see that that third section, because I did October 2nd, doesn't appear until over here. So to help me kind of filter through this information, I recommend coloring your columns. It's kind of helpful. So I'm going to click on the D and scroll over. I shouldn't say scroll, just drag over until I get over to K. And the reason I'm doing that is because that's the September 30th dates. Choose my paint bucket, choose the color. I'll do the same thing with L and just kind of drag over until it scrolls clear over. Keep going. Sometimes it's tricky. Got to kind of play with it. Keep going. There we go. And go to letter S and color that. Again, this is just a preference. You don't have to do this. I'm going to scroll over in this last section, color that as well. That'll just help me keep tabs of what is what information. Totally not necessary, but it does give you that nice visual cue, and you can see that information there. Okay, so I hope that you found this to be helpful as far as learning about what is called choice removal. I think it is a pretty valuable tool as far as being able to organize and structure appointments or sign out lists. There's lots of different ways it could possibly be used.